What's up, YouTube? BeatyMoney here, back for another installment of my Fitness for Musicians. Today I'm going to talk about getting started. I've already put up some videos about macronutrients, about lifting splits, but all that doesn't matter if we don't just get started. And barring that you're a healthy individual and are cleared by your doctors to lift, then there's no reason why you can't get started. And I want to encourage people because I feel like we sometimes think about our health or bodybuilding, or maybe not necessarily bodybuilding specifically, but lifting weights and getting to the gym as this big task, and we want to lose 30 pounds and we think about losing the 30 pounds instead of thinking about just getting started. Or we might say like, oh, if I had just this thing, then I'd get started. And or if this circumstance was right, then I get started. And the reality in life is circumstances are really never ideal for any of us, we just have to push through, and you'll find once you do actually get started in an endeavor, then it's easier to keep doing it. And so I want to encourage you guys, if you're wanting to get into better shape, to just get started and just focus. I've talked about it in a little bit in the first one. If you're trying to clean up your diet, don't think about cleaning it all up at once. It didn't take you a week to build your eating habits, and sometimes you have to undo some bad habits. So if you can just focus on one habit, let's say perhaps you have too much refined sugars, just focus on that one aspect for a couple weeks. I've always tried to give myself 3 weeks, sometimes up to 3 months when it comes to a particular training split. So I remember I'm not a big fan of ketogenic dieting myself. It's not one of my favorite things, but a lot of people love it and had success with it. And I've definitely spent different times of my lifting life or fitness life giving months to ketogenic dieting, just so I could know how my body reacts to zero carbohydrates and how I feel on it. And but I gave it time, and I think sometimes people we tend to not do things because we don't see results as quickly as we'd want to do them. But that's just not the way it works. If it took you 6 years to get heavy or 10 years to get heavy, it's not going to take you a couple weeks to lose body fat. And sometimes we see these huge goals like, oh, I want to lose 30 pounds of fat. And you don't see that 30 pounds of fat leave your body inside of a couple weeks, and we get frustrated and we stop. So what I want to encourage people is, don't think about it in terms of that. If you're losing 2 pounds of body fat per week, which I think is doable if you're dieting a certain way and doing enough cardio and eating a certain way and training a certain way, I think that's healthy. Obviously, if you're really obese, you're going to lose a little bit more than that per week. But I think most of us can expect to lose anywhere from 1 pound to 2.5 pounds per week. That's healthy, and it's not too fast. And that adds up over time. If you're losing 2 pounds per week over the course of 3 months, that's going to end up being 24 pounds right there. So boom, in 3 months, you've hit your 20 pounds fat loss goal. And so don't let your circumstances prevent you from just getting the car going. Because once you get going, then it's easier to start adding on to it. So I'm cutting sugar out of my diet. Next thing, okay, I got that under control. I'm going to cut out all drinks out of my diet that aren't water. Boom. And now I'm going to cut out high glycemic carbohydrates. Maybe I'm just going to eat brown rice. I'm just going to eat sweet potatoes, quinoa, things of that nature that are low glycemic carbohydrates, versus eating bread. So tackle one thing at a time. Or like when I was talking about macros, say, hey, I'm gonna eat 100 grams of protein a day. Because again, I don't recommend you to go and eat 300 grams of protein a day if you're not that big, or if you've never eaten much, haven't tracked protein that much to begin with. You shouldn't just jump in and be like, I'm gonna go from eating no grams of protein to a ton of grams of protein. So I would just say, hey, hit 100 grams a day, move it up to 150 grams a day. Once you get that high, then you can start manipulating other things. So don't feel like you have to tackle everything at once. Just get started. Let's say you want to get to the gym more. Just say, hey, I'm gonna go 3 days a week right now. I'm gonna go 4 days a week right now, maybe 2 days a week. Say, hey, Saturday and Wednesday are my days in the gym. And then you go and you do that, and after a couple weeks, you're like, you know what, that feels pretty good. perhaps I'm going to do 3 days, 4 days inside the gym. And then it goes up and up and up. And as you get more into it and start seeing changes in your body, it's easier to get addicted to that feeling of achievement in the gym. And it's the same thing with anything, whether I'm doing music or whatever it is. As the ball starts to roll, you're going to get more inspired to keep it going. So the biggest takeaway from today's message, I guess, is don't let your circumstances define your past. You know, we can overcome a lot. Human beings, we have a capacity to endure so much and adapt to so much. So don't let your circumstances step in the way of you trying to get to where you're trying to go. You know, even when it comes to these vlogs and putting videos on my YouTube, my setup isn't great. You know, it's not. It doesn't mean that it won't get better, and it doesn't mean that I can't do what I can. Doesn't mean that I can't do the best that I can do with what I have. You know, and that's kind of the story of life. That's kind of what we all do. We do the best that we can with what we got. You know, when I was in my 20s, I was very ill for a couple of years, and I couldn't do much. But I did do what I could, you know, and I was able to teach myself a second language during that time, even though I was pretty debilitated. So I would just want to encourage you guys, get started and just take it little steps at a time, you know, inch by inch, it's just inch, yard by yard, it's hard, you know, so just don't think about the huge goal, just make little goals along the way. Hey, I want to lose 5 pounds of fat by the end of the month, you know, and you'd be surprised. Sometimes you overshoot those goals, you know, and so when it comes to lifting and dieting, just get started, and you're gonna figure stuff out along the way. Because I can give you a plan, like a good coach. Let's say you're gonna hire a coach to help you with your dieting, with your training split. A good coach is gonna check up on you weekly, or maybe more than that, so they can see, because it's the journey is figuring out like what foods work for you, what training splits work for you, what exercises work for you, and that's a never-ending process. So, you know, but the process can't start if you never start. You know what I mean? If you don't go to the gym, you don't try to do these things, then you're never gonna make any progress. So yeah, that's my message for today. Just get started. Maybe it's not even fitness. Maybe you want to start a business. Maybe you want to start a YouTube channel. Maybe you want to start an Instagram. Whatever it is, I just want to encourage y'all to go out and get started. Life is super short. We don't have a lot of time here, and if you have something to offer the world, which most people do, just go out there and give it freely. You know, not freely. if you can monetize it, great. But give to the world, help people. You know, that's what it's about. So get started, start your journey, and then go out and help people. Pay it forward. You know, and maybe my next vlog I can talk about how my first training partner. He was pretty awesome, and he taught me a whole bunch when he didn't really have to. So pay it forward, get started, be positive, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a great week, and hopefully whoever watches this watches my other videos and learns a little bit. If anybody wants coaching or wants some help, hit me up. I'm in New York City, and I'm always down to help people. So hope you guys have a great week, and I will talk to you guys later.